uskalla. No niin. Eli jatketaan. Nyt tämän iltapäivän sessio on ainoa englanninkielinen esitys, koska Oliver ei ole ilmeisesti katsonut riittävästi Suomen televisiota. Eli Oliver Väärtnõu, joka on tällä hetkellä Cyberneticalla, mutta ollut muun muassa pääministerin oikeana kätenä ja on, voisi sanoa, ehkä Eestin Mr. X-Road. Eli would that be fair to say?
I guess so.
I guess so, okay. But he will reveal some of the lessons learned and commercial opportunities what the National Service Bus can maybe offer to us. But very, very experienced, so I hope you have some questions for him. He won't be joining the panel as well because the panel will be in Finnish. Go ahead, Oliver. The stage is yours.
Good afternoon, everybody. Really happy to stand in front of you. The first question is why Cybernetica? Cybernetica has been the key developer of the X-Road technology in Estonia for the last 12 years. We have done it together with strong cooperation with the Estonian government. So I'll be very happy to tell you what are the kind of lessons learned in Estonia. 4 things I'm going to talk about. First, briefly about Cybernetica, what we do, what's our background. Second, I'm going to tell you about the brief history of X-Road, where does it come from, where we are today. Thirdly, a couple of services that Estonia has developed, which are more complex and which maybe Finland can copy a little bit, or where the countries can work together. And lastly, just jotting up ideas on the future roadmap of the X-Road technology. So first of all, about the background of Cybernetica. We are an Estonian private limited ICT R&D company. The history is actually scientific, so it has grown out of the Estonian Academy of Sciences in 1997. We have a team of about 100 people, strong scientific background. We have about 10 people with PhD degrees. The revenue last year was about 8 million euros, and about 40% comes from from export. The key focus areas, I must say that X-Road or government information systems is not the only focus area of Cybernetica. We also do marine and other visual aid navigation systems, radio and video surveillance systems, etc., etc. With e-government, however, we have been doing the Estonian e-voting system, tax and custom information systems, X-Road, etc. As I said, we have strong competencies in cryptographic research, so we also have a separate institute for that. Now, the origins of X-Road and how it came to be. I think the key here is that scarcity brings about innovation. The origins of X-Road actually lie around in the time of around 2000, year 2000, where Estonia had very many registers developed by different organizations and financed separately. We had very small organizations with very little knowledge on the security, and also they had very limited IT budget. However, on the other side, the government had very high requirements on information security because of the personal data that the database is included. And lastly, luckily, we had a government that had a strong will to support ICT innovations. That was the government of Mart Laar. We had a special ICT advisor in the government, and they really wanted to push through new innovations in the government. So what we did, we created a national middleware that would provide unified access to all governmental services, registers, and systems. We used the web service-based communication And we wanted each digital interaction to be digitally signed, so it had legal power, and that it could be, the system could be universally used by all institutions, including governmental. Today we are in a situation in Estonia where more than 160 databases are offering services via X-Road. More than 3,000 individual services are available, published on the X-Road. More than 800 organizations are using X-Road daily. More than 50% of citizens are using X-Road via the citizen portal in Estonia, and most companies have actually used X-Road via the entrepreneur portal, where they submit annual accounts or other company data. Something very similar that was shown in the first presentation. This is the description of the Estonian information system, and describes how the X-Road technology actually works inside Estonia. I must say that this red line, which says Internet X-Road, doesn't exist as such. Each communication actually is peer-to-peer communication, so there is no one layer using that. So if there is an inquiry from the enterprise, let's say, view to the document exchange center, then this connection is created peer-to-peer, and it is, let's say, monitored through the X-Road Center services. But this is pretty much the picture how it works today. As you can see also, there are a couple of private sector organizations here, like energy, telecom, banks, but they are not very strongly linked to the or very keen on using the X-Road technology. They are it's still mostly used by government institutions providing services to citizens or to companies. Examples of services in Estonia, and this is probably the most complex service that we have built up in Estonia, which is the e-health system, which has actually, if you look at the graph, has been implemented bit by bit. So first of all, we created the nationwide health information exchange platform. Then we connected hospitals, family doctors into it, pharmacies, school nurses, emergency medical services, etc., etc. So constantly we have built digital services into the e-health or healthcare sector. I think the biggest hit, or the biggest, the best kind of showcase for the e-health, which everybody admires in Estonia as well, is the example of the e-prescription, which took off really fast, and has kind of prevailed in its succession. Today, about 95% of all the prescriptions issued are in a digital format. There were in the beginning a couple of glitches when implementing the technology. Today, one can say that it runs really smoothly. One interesting fact, actually, worth mentioning, is that about 60% of all the communication on X-Road is actually from the healthcare sector. Second use case, I think, which is interesting to look at, is the e-notary system that we have developed, and that has actually quite drastically changed how notaries work. and what they do, and have created a very or a much more efficient system to which it was before it was enacted. So what does the e-notary system allows one to do? It enables notaries to do reliable queries based on from different databases, from different state registers. Today, 16 registers are connected to that service. So that's one of the services that has the most, let's say, registers connected to it. It can help prepare agreements and digitally sign them, register official activities, record deposits, issuing apostilles, etc. As I mentioned, the number of copies and the deeds has been radically reduced, about 40%, which is the official government data. We have now a fully electronic land register, which we're very proud of, and also the business process flows are significantly shorter and more effective. When I was working for the government, which was just half a year ago, we had a huge debate is that whether everything is okay with the Estonian e-government services. Are we happy to offer these to the world? And in fact, the government published a green paper on the development of public e-services last May, and it concluded that we have a lot of room for progress. It highlighted different issues, some things that have come up here today as well, which is lack of central coordination and interministerial and regional cooperation. It stated that the public services must have clear owners. The problem behind was that when smaller services are developed by the government and there is no clear, constant user need for better services, they tend to fall behind, they tend to fall between different ministries, and there's no clear owner, and thus they're not developed that well as well. So process-based management is lacking minimum requirements, etc., etc. So the government actually concluded that we need to invest a lot more into e-services, and that is also one of the priorities in the Estonian Information Society strategy that the government issued last year. Now, in Finland, there is a debate how can the X-road technology be utilized in the private sector, in business-to-business communication or business-to-consumer communication. What kind of new services can be developed based on that technology? And I must admit that there are not too many great examples where business has utilized this technology in order to develop services. There are easy cases like ticketing and transportation systems where simple queries are made to the population register, who lives where, whether one can get a discount, etc. There are credit inquiries credit inquiries regarding individuals or companies on their payment behavior, for example, from the banks, and also payment defaults. But this is pretty much all there is. So I think when we look at from the perspective of Digile, or from a wider perspective of two-country collaboration, then I think this is definitely an area where we could collaborate and come up with the great new initiatives and ideas. And finally, the X-Road roadmap, Ways for the Future. Today, two things which are more or less certain. Estonia converts to a newer version of X-Road. As we heard, Finland has adopted the X-Road. The governments are working together in providing or in coming up with services that would be between countries, whether it would be some checks on taxation issues or something like that. So we will be having a federated support developed for the countries. I think in the near future, X-Road should focus on its usage at the time of crisis, how we can divert it into different ways of communication, not only IP or internet, but maybe mobile or radio, telecoms, etc., etc. Interesting area where to look possibly would be personal mobile security survey to enable personal services or personal open data. And finally, as I touched upon before as well, quick service design labs, which Digile is investing in and which we are very keen to join as well. That's all. Thank you for your attention. I'd be keen to answer any of the questions that you have.
Thank you. Okay, now is your chance to ask questions from Oliver, whether it's from this post or his past post. Come on, guys.
One question.
Okay, Rasmus.
I'll just break the ice here.
Okay.
Hi, Oliver. You said that you have 3 services that you showed us examples that were today in use of corporates and private sector. Do you have visions? What could be, what kind of services could be, built up in Estonia based on the current data storages and data usage and so on? You have a good track record on the public side, but do you have any visions that you could say, well, I wish that this and this kind of services would be done by the private sector also?
Not really. We have played around with different ideas in sectors of transport or finance, but we don't have a roadmap or anything like that how it can be utilized. And I think that this forum maybe is the best way or the best place to actually address these questions and try to think ahead on how that could be utilized.
Okay.
There's one over there.
You were first. Okay, help me out, guys. There.
Kalle Happner from CSC. How do you see that X-Road fits these new open data things where you have a lot of producers producing completely open data, don't need authentication? Does it fit for, is it a good fit for that, or will it be developed so that it would support those two?
I think today there is no, I think it can support the Open Data Initiative, and I think there is no issue with it. So I don't know. Sorry.
That's a tough question.
Yeah.
Yep. Can you pass it over? Heitäksä sinne?
Somebody's going to get hurt soon.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Raimo from Ericsson Finland, but also chairman of the Digile board. This is a more technical question. I don't know whether you are the right guy to answer, but can you actually increase the length of the security keys because the reason I'm asking, I'm very keen on keeping the Snowdens and others out of the Finnish system or Estonian systems. Can you easily increase I think you have 2,000 roughly, key length is 2,000, but I would like to have 10,000, something like that.
Oh, okay.
I can come back to, I'm not a technical person, and as you noted as well in the beginning, that I've only joined Cybernetica 2 months ago, but as far as I know, the new technology, the new version of the X-Road enables to increase the key length. how long and in what format, I can come back to you. We can change cards afterwards, and I'll be happy to exchange that information.
Okay, one more. Give it a go.
Hi.
Okay.
Two more.
Two more.
Are there any technical barrier to Finnish government organization using the security services server with Estonia central services? Can two organizations, for example here, Kunta, Tiara, using the Estonia central services and start communicating?
Today this functionality doesn't exist. However, the Estonian government is right now procuring the federation service of two different X-roads, and it will probably be it will probably be ready in about September. So we are working on it today to have two X-road nodes, central nodes, communicating with each other.
Okay, here.
Okay, Oliver. One question about internationalization. You're currently talking with us Finns. Are you talking or exporting X-road as a solution to other countries as well?
Well, the Estonian government is foreseeing X-road collaboration with many countries today. Cybernetica individually is not exporting the technology directly to countries. However, I know that the Estonian government is working strongly with UK on piloting X-road technology, and there are other countries that have been looking at the technology. I think Sweden, Norway, but I think there is no clear government decisions like the case of Finland. The closest to it is UK.
So we in the forefront here.
Yes, indeed.
Okay, one more.
Okay. I will give you a visionary question that after end of the day, we have now products, services, and information. And when we are able to establish interoperable information, then the question is that what is the day or the year when the citizens will start making solutions to them based on this open information?
That's what I proposed, that one way is to look at that each citizen would have its own secure server and that could provide its own services. When would that be? I don't know. Let's see. We can definitely start working on the technical solution, but when it will take off, I don't know. It depends on what the data is there, how open is the infrastructure, etc., etc. So
That sounds like what Jari Juopari
I would
said
say
early.
2017.
What? Okay, good. Prediction.
18.
But Jari Juopari said that the public sector digital services will be seductive. So that sounds like seductive because anything related to me and my data is seductive to me,
Yeah.
right?
But
don't
I
know.
think there is definitely an area of growth in these personal services. But let's see. Let's work on it together.
Anything else?
Thank you for your promise.
Okay, that was 2017. Okay,
Yes.
okay, let's have coffee now. We have a coffee break for 15 minutes, which means eli takaisin siis